Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to have another little nosh and chat about the opposite of noshing, fasting. So there's a couple different types of fasting that have piqued my interest. I guess the one that I know the most about in practice would be intermittent fasting. I know there's a couple kinds that people practice. Basically, it's about, I guess, splitting up the time frame of when you're consuming your food. So I do the 16-8 one. I don't eat for 16 hours of the day, and then I eat all my calories in an 8-hour window. Actually, what I think I probably do is OMAD, one meal a day. So I have all those calories in one sitting, more or less. Today I'm splitting it because we are having oatmeal while we're going to be chatting. I actually have a video where I make oatmeal because my content is staggeringly exciting. Any one of these videos could pop and go viral at any time. So I do the intermittent thing. I know there's people that do the 5-2, like 5 days you eat, and then 2 days you eat like very little, very, very little. And then there's like water fasting or juice cleanses or the 21-day thing that Beyonce did with the lemon juice and the cayenne and the maple syrup and all that stuff. Now, let me preface this. If you're working with your doctor, a medical professional, and I don't mean someone that you find online who has some initials after their name and went to some school, university of, you've never effing heard of it, but you really want to believe what they're saying, so you call them credible. Yeah, don't. But if you're working with someone who's, been through something like medical school, who has a degree in nutrition, dietetics, nursing, something along that vein, and can give you an idea of this is what eating this way or not eating this way will do to your body. Certainly if you have any pre-existing like medical conditions, and you're managing them with your diet, get that stuff checked out. But if you're, we're all grown-ups and we're going to do what we want anyway. So when it came to me doing the intermittent fasting, I actually worked with my psychiatrist on it. I kind of said, I want to lose weight. Here's what I want to do. And here's how I'm going to go about it. And the bottom line really for her was how many calories you're going to be eating, and we're going to weigh you every time you come in. So pretty much her bottom line was calories in, calories out. You weigh this much, don't eat too little, and we're going to check your weight to see if you're losing weight too fast. This was important for me because I have a history with eating disorders. So sometimes when you start the diet, you like hit an oil slick, and I would just skid off and lose a lot of weight really quick, and then, that kind of stuff happens. There's like a mental preoccupation beyond just being hungry. All sorts of other thoughts start to wrap into it. You start fantasizing about food and thinking about food and feeling your body's bones to think, when I lose more weight, I'll feel this and I'll look like this when I lose even more weight. And it becomes like a fixation and an addiction and all that stuff. And it drives compulsions with it. So I had to be fully out there with, what I was going to be doing. Things my psychiatrist would not have gone for. Water fasting, juice fasting. Why? I barely ate for a few years when I was younger, when I was doing the restricting thing. Basically, at the end of high school, I was living on lemons, tuna, Sour Patch Kids, and laxatives. And, I obviously lost weight. It didn't matter in what order I ate those things. It didn't matter at what time of the day I ate those things. The fact is, I was eating very, very little. And I was a teenage boy, so I was running around a lot. I had an after-school job. I was doing school plays and stuff. I'm always the last person to know that I'm gay. Everyone else knew but me. So I had choir and all this other stuff going on. So I was burning a lot and eating a little, and obviously the weight came off. And I can vouch for the fact that when you're not eating, or you're eating very little over a long period of time, and when you're drinking water every day and not having anything else for a long period, you start to think about food nonstop. The same sort of thinking starts to activate. You crave it. You read recipes. You start watching the Food Network. You start to get interested in what other people are eating. You start watching people eating a little more closely. And I know people will say, I felt so much better. I felt so much lighter. It was rough the first couple days. And as I was following along with, again, I'll get back to Chantal here, and she's going along with her diet, um, she's mentioning a few of these things, but I'm not surprised that by day 6 it was over. She has identified herself as a person with eating, at the best I'll say, issues. She may have used the word disorder. I don't want to put words in her mouth if I don't remember hearing them exactly. And fasting of that kind, even the most pseudoscientist that you can find on Wikipedia will tell you, don't fast those strict fasts if you have a history with eating disorders. Again, if you're working with your provider, you're working with a doctor, somebody that you can see face to face and check in with and do blood work and do weights and do that stuff, it's different. But just, she says she has a history with it. And if you're addicted to food, totally removing it is like, that's extreme. And that's a lot to try to manage on your own, too. So it doesn't surprise me that the water fast failed. It doesn't surprise me that she binged right after the water fast. Her body and her mind are reacting how I think exactly a lot of people's bodies would react to water fasting. They talked about the refeeding afterwards and being careful. When you come out of malnutrition, close to starvation, and it's usually young women who go into inpatient, though it could be men, obviously. Men can starve themselves half to death too. And they do refeeding. They start very slowly refeeding individuals who, specifically with like anorexia, but certainly other illnesses that can kill your appetite and make you thin, because their bodies are not used to digesting food. The bowels have been empty. Their taste buds are different. They may have trouble swallowing. They may get impacted bowels from eating. Any diet that requires you to need to retrain your body to digest food, I'm suspicious of. Mid-video disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. I am not a dietitian. I have probably a little more than average knowledge of nutrition and how some things work within the body, only because I did a lot of independent study as a person who was obsessed with weight, calories, numbers, how the body works, how I can trick my body, how I can fool myself into not eating, how I can kill my appetite, how I can keep my mouth busy so I'm not trying to eat. So my independent study may have given me a little more information. But beyond that, the best information I've had over a long period of time for sustained weight loss is calories in, calories out. It's mathematics. And everything else would be based around a different goal. I know that for Chantal, she was doing the water fast because she had cysts in her ovaries, maybe. And then now she's doing like a grape cure. God bless her. I don't want to talk shit, but God bless her. And then for other folks, they might change their diet around specifically to cut body fat. So if someone's doing like keto, I talk so much smack on keto, but depending on your fitness goals, and if you're wanting to lose a lot of weight really quickly because you have a specific health condition, not just obesity, but maybe that and something else, go for keto. If you're trying to cut weight and you lift, there's a lot of different reasons people want to change their diet up to change the shape of their body or modify their health. But, any diet that would cause your body to shut down digestion and have you to change it to begin refeeding yourself again, I'm suspicious of that. The diets where it's like a juice cleanse, where it's lemon juice and this and that, you've screwed with your electrolytes a little too much. It's not a good idea. I've played with, not played with, I used to binge and purge a lot, and that's on the extreme end of it, but you start to get like heart palpitations. I mean, you could have a heart attack if your electrolyte balance goes off. So that's not something to play with either. And you can get as high on starvation as you can on binging. If your mind makes that switch and you have food issues, it can swing one way to the other. It's not out of reach. I've done it. I've seen it happen to other people too. It's a risk factor. It's something like that. So, I don't know. The intermittent fasting actually works out really well, not only for me, not only with my schedule, but for someone who I can plan out healthier meals easier. I tend to like junk food. That's fine. Again, calories in, calories out. It doesn't really matter. But the quality of the food does make a difference. I will feel like, holy shit, if all I eat is a pint of Haagen-Dazs that day. If calorie-wise, it's in my range. It's about 1,200 for a pint, but I'll probably feel like absolute garbage. So getting in, some insoluble and soluble fiber. There's probably not much in the PB2 that's in here. And I have fruit, vegetable, protein, usually some kind of carb that has a little fiber in it of some sort, and try to get, some of that in. Now I'm in maintenance, I'm still around 1,500. I'm trying to drop the little Christmas weight that I gained, but otherwise, and even that I'm not in a huge rush. We're doing weigh-in Wednesdays, but I'm not trying to cut 2 pounds a week because I'll be at goal in like 2 weeks, and this is more of a lifestyle thing than it is a race to the finish again. What I'm going to do, start weigh-ins every time I gain 2 pounds? Certainly could. Or just call them Wellness Wednesdays. I'm really off topic of that right now. But I was also quite hungry when I got home. I was starving, actually, when I left work. I just muscled through today on coffee and Diet Coke. And it's freezing out, so when I went out to have my smoke at lunch, I only had 1. I usually have 2. So those are my thoughts on fasting at the moment. I'm leaving out the part where there's like religious purposes. I was raised Catholic, so we participated in fasting on some level growing up. No meat on Fridays during Lent. I know if you're old school, it's no Fridays, period. Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, 2 small meals. Actually, when I was a kid, it was like no meals. And then dinner, still no meat. I remember when I was in college, I was vice president of the LGBT student organization. And we had offices for all the student clubs, and the club right next to us was the Muslim student organization. And this is either going to show you my cultural insight or my cultural ignorance. I'm not sure which, but this is just as I remember it as being 20. Ramadan, sundown, sun up to sundown, no eating. At any rate, during that period, they would pray around when we would have our meeting once or twice a week. And then they had this huge potluck afterwards. And they would invite us to eat. They were so nice. They were so friendly. I had all sorts of food I'd never heard of before. And then, there was always the person who couldn't cook for the potluck. So, every so often, they would just order pizza. That was so cool. So I know there's fasting for religious purposes. And that has a different tone to it. And a different purpose. And it's not for weight loss or for health. It's for, spirituality and reasons like that. So I'm leaving that part, out of it. Because that doesn't have the same motives. You might have some of the same outcomes, possibly some of the same risks, but I'll leave that to the believers to make those decisions for themselves. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, pull up some oatmeal if you feel so inclined. Hit the like button, get the alerts too once you subscribe. And I'll catch up with you all soon. Eat hearty. Bye.